interims, who they are, what they're doing, the terms of reference, get them a laptop, all these things. Sometimes we've learned the hard way over the years that some of these things, so when we set up an assignment, we really go through these things, and some of them are really obvious, but it's good to do so. And it's typically 6 months, so let's have the plan. The interim turnaround of plan has got to be approved by whoever the boss is. And I think in that exit piece, it is what is left behind. Is it the building of a new team, sustainable team, with the right people, the right roles, with the right measurements in place. The interim, there's a lot, it didn't come out of my slides at all, but there's a lot of mentor and coaching that happens. And I can think of many examples, as Stephen touched on, where we put in a part-time sort of interim sort of finance director, but they've really brought a financial controller up to speed, or with an organisation. And we've often been involved. We've put someone into, I remember a senior HR role, they've never done HR, so we brought one of our interims to help on a kind of decreasing time basis, 5 days, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, 1 day a week. And they stayed at one just to mentor them and get them.
It's a great point. It's a great point. I'm actually where I'm going next is I have a once a quarter mentoring half day, and the board asked me if I wanted a mentor with the things that I found hardest to do when I did an appraisal about 2 years ago, and I was talking about some of the difficult areas that I needed some support with. And that's been really, really helpful actually, because I always say to him, he can say things to me that my wife said to me would be really defensive, but he can say things to me and I'll hear it. And I don't feel as though I've been gotten at. Which I says, I don't understand why you feel that with me. I said, it's me, it's about me, not about you. So I found that very valuable, and I've similarly given that to people at certain points in their development within the team at different levels, not just leadership team, people who are doing a new piece of work at a more junior level, but might need a bit of mentoring and coaching from somebody else. And I've often used other charities where people have got specialism and asked, if we could either borrow someone and give someone something back in a different way for nothing, or paid to do that. So different ways of getting coaching and mentoring going.
We've had one person very patiently waiting. So this will be the last question, I'm afraid, and then we're very happy to go downstairs and for coffee or something. But do you want to?
So I think it's probably a question for you, but perhaps for colleagues around the room as well. So I can kind of see how the interim solution works for an organisation like mine, where there's many structures around. But for a small charity, how does that work? I chair a tiny charity, real pressure on and restricted. So things like funding and mentoring programs, things like that, difficult for the salary isn't at a super competitive level. It's at a level that we can work. What is the solution for chair in an organisation like that, where there isn't a great deal of budget? How does that work?
So you're not going to be taking for sure. But I've been running interims now for quite a few years. I've worked with lots of very small organisations who will take in, say, an interim CEO or something, and the interims themselves will often have a rate card. So they'll have a card that they use for their commercial work, public sector, not-for-profit. Particularly if it's an organisation that resonates with them personally. The other thing is something like 60 to 70% of the interims that work in the not-for-profit world. And it's very different in the private sector and the public sector. But 60 to 70% work in the not-for-profit world do it on a part-time basis. And they're quite happy, sometimes, not always, to say, look, I'll come and do this for 3 days a week, for £400 a day, and I'll augment my own personal income with a bit of consultancy and a paid non-exec role. And actually that's the lifestyle choice I've taken. So before obviously there is a cost, you're not going to get someone doing it for free, but it's always worth a conversation, because there are people out there who would consider doing something like that, particularly if it's something they're really passionate about. We've brought in some very willing, I think the metaphor is willing horsepower, extra horsepower going into a very small organisation that people really wanted to. So why would you not avail of that? you stand up, do you want to say?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's always essential to talk through these things. I mean, a few times I've said to a client, well, you know, usually this project's going to be, you know, funded under this as well. If you really look, I think that there is a relationship between what you might pay the interim and the permanent equivalent. So if you really sort of go back and say, well, this would have been, you know, a permanent salary for the role. And remember, with the interim, you're not paying, you know, you're not paying anything towards, you know, benefits and what have you. It's not on cost, you know. It's all very wonderful, very transparent. And you say, well, look, I do need someone really good. They're going to do a really important exercise and, you know, reduce cost. Or, you know, there is a premium to bring someone in a bit more qualified and permanent. But I think I often do that exercise, and you only pay for the days the person's working. So maybe they're just working 2 days a week, but actually in reality they're doing a lot more. We do quite a lot of not-for-profit world and some of our educational, you know, organisations where they might be working 3-4 days a week, but you are getting 5-7 days a week. You know, they are on the iPhone, they are calling into things. But there's a bit of flexibility for them as well. It's a win-win. They might have some volunteer activities or in their role. They just need some time, working from home. So I think anything's possible. You know, I guess that sort of sums up this concept of interim. Anything's possible. And some people say, look, I've just come off something. You know, this is a really cool organisation. You know, I know there's just not a budget. Let's talk. And we often get involved in making that happen. Sometimes you will directly with them. But I put up some numbers that probably seem higher for some organisations than others. But I wouldn't, it's worth working through.
Anything's possible. We've got to be out of here in 2 minutes. I think one might say the final word, and then we will.
I just want to say thank you very much for our speakers today. We could show our appreciation. If you have any feedback for us, Association of Chairs will be emailing around to you or nab us at the back, but we do need to tell you to the room. But we're always interested in feedback on new ideas for future work. Thank you very much.